Yes, sir. Welcome, everybody, to the State 48 Foundation Entrepreneur Series. This is the third part of the series. My name is Jay Russell. I'm going to be your host for this evening. Before we get started, this was presented by OGs. And OGs has a present for you guys. So they're going to come out here right now and see who wants some free T-shirts. Please raise your hand and make some noise for these free T-shirts. Oh, kick that back there. Okay. It's going to make its way around. We got some T-shirts going on around there. We're going to have some fun tonight. That's why we're starting off the show like that, guys. Now, this is presented by Every Impression Counts. You can see them doing the camera work in the back right now, so it's all good. This is going to be all over. And then also right now, we just want to talk about how great this is to have 4 marketing professionals out here that's going to give you guys so much good game tonight. I'm so excited to be here. Like I said, my name is Jay Russell. I'm a lifestyle producer at Channel 3, and I also do the in-game hosting for the Arizona Coyotes as well. So if you've been to a game, you probably saw me out there howling for everybody out there. Okay, we got some Coyotes fans out here. I love that. Okay, now I want to talk about, too, the State 48 Foundation, and I'm going to bring up on the stage right now the guy with the best beard in Arizona. I think you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm trying to grow mine out a little bit, too. Mike Spangenberg, he's the State 48 board member. He's going to come on stage right now and tell you a little bit about the organization. And it looks like Mike still might be out at let's see, the door just opened. That is not Mike. Okay. We're going to keep it moving along there. Okay. Well, basically about the State 48 Foundation, let me tell you guys a little bit about it before we get started here. The State 48 Foundation was born from the nonprofit. Big Mike, best beard in the game. Spangenberg is here. Give him a round of applause as he comes on stage real quick.
What's up, everyone? If you haven't heard the story, my name is Mike Spangenberg, CEO, co-founder of State 48. Also, thank you, Alex. Also chairman of the board of State 48 Foundation. Just wanted to give a quick introduction of why we're here. Obviously, you all came here for a reason. Kudos to you for pursuing your passion in entrepreneurship. But quickly, we started in 2013, the for-profit, with $1,500, with not knowing what the heck we were doing. We submitted for a trademark, which was probably the best thing we ever did, and we did it right, because now there's 70+ organizations with State 48 involved with it. But the reason, as our company developed and we started doing collaborations, and we realized, hey, this is so much more than just selling T-shirts and hats. We really want to make an impact in our community. It's been cool to talk to so many people about their opinions on collaborations, and like, I don't get it, I don't understand. For us, it's so much about community. It's so much about building relationships. It's so much, again, more than selling T-shirts and hats. We're not trying to be a Supreme. We're not trying to be those brands that, that would be great, but that's not who we are, right? So, 2 years ago during a pandemic, we decided to start a foundation, and that's why you're all here today. Super grateful for all you being here today. The goal of that was to, in no way are we saying we're experts, because we don't know it all. We still don't know it all. But we want to bring incredible people in our community, in our network, to lend their free advice, their free experience, and just you'll realize, hey, this is all the same stuff, right? And I think if you weren't here last week, make sure you check it out online, because the legal part of it is so important. You should invest every dollar in there, because you don't want to put all that hard work into something that you end up getting ripped off for. So. Again, the moral of the story is we always want to be known for so much more than selling T-shirts and hats. We are here today to our community, to help you all, be sustainable. It is so freaking hard. So before I kick it back off to Jay, and thank you for being here, and thank you to our speakers, and thank you all for being here. I just kind of wanted to do some fun facts about entrepreneurship. So some facts, and then also like the five biggest mistakes. So I think you all get a kick out of this. So if you didn't know this, 33% of small businesses get started with less than $5,000. We are part of that with $1,500. There are about 500,000 startups launching every year in the United States. I think that's so cool that people are realizing, hey, life's too short. You need to go for something you're passionate about. So again, that's why we have a full room today. 8% of entrepreneurs stated that money is their major motivation. I think that's super important and evident of like who is going to be successful. There really needs to be a cause behind it. Over 80% of businesses fail because of poor cash management. So that is very, very important to make sure you bring on the right people to hire that accountant that we did not do for several years, right? So we did a lot of things we did a lot of things you shouldn't have done, and that's why, again, we're so passionate about helping you all, no matter what stage of your business in. And again, it's not just us saying we're experts, because we are not at all, but we want to bring other experts in the community to help provide that free advice. So 5 biggest mistakes I get a kick out of this. Expecting success right away. I think Gary Vee does a great job of explaining this, but in my opinion, everyone thinks entrepreneurship's the sexy thing to do, and even anyone in this room is probably laughing because they know how much hard work it is. But in my opinion, there's no better feeling than people wearing your brand, the people spending money with you. Like that is incredible feeling. So don't think this is an overnight. If you got that figured out, kudos to you. But we're 9 years into it, and we still are figuring stuff out. So it is not overnight success. Trying to do everything yourself is another big mistake. I'm guilty of that for sure. I've gotten a lot better at that. Thankfully now, Nick's over here saying amen to that. But thankfully, as you grow, you can bring on the incredible people. Especially shout out to everyone on our team here tonight. We are nothing without our team, but it also takes you doing a lot of that stuff on your own for many years sometimes to figure that stuff out. But trying to do everything yourself and letting go, that's a big mistake. Ignoring your true passion and just going for the money. Again, that's kind of back to the 8% fact. I think that's important. Like, what is the bigger mission? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? What is your goal in life? I think that's super important, because in this world, there's so much competition. Like, how do you separate yourselves? And for us, it's that community, it's the collaborations, it's creating a legitimate organizations that give back. So, number 4, not being adaptable. We all learned that during the pandemic. You better be able to pivot. You better not be stuck in your own ways. If we were just like, hey, we're gonna make cool T-shirts for the rest of our life, we would not probably be here today. Now we have several other revenue streams. All our eggs aren't in one basket. So I think that's super important from experience. Last but not least, ignoring social media. I know we all have our frustration with social media, especially now more than ever, but it's free, and we wouldn't be here today without it. So you just, I think in life, you just have to make the best out of things. It's like, yeah, we can say it's hard and it's frustrating, but like, you want winners on your team who are gonna make things happen. And there's a reason why people are successful and create incredible brands, personal, business, off social media. So use it to the best of your ability and make the best out of it. So again, thank you all for being here. We're gonna be giving out $25,000 in grants, so stay tuned in, and again, thank you. And this is why we're here tonight, so thank you.
Yes, piggybacking off of what Mike said, you really can't do it alone if you're in entrepreneurship. And if you look to my left, your right now, there's some organizations that are here to help you. And I found out some great information about them. We have the ASU Venture Devils, we have Get Phoenix, House Genius, and also Hub. So the really cool thing I found out about this through Hub right now is they have some resources that are available depending upon what city that you're in. Phoenix, I found out, you'll get 10 hours of free help. So if you're just starting off, you have no idea what you're doing, they can help you out. And I know the other organizations, it's the same way. So reach out to people that can help you out, because nobody can do it out on their own. And then also the Walter Hive is here. They're a nonprofit arm of Walter, so please stop by and say hello to them as well. Now, I need somebody to help me out. You just heard Mike Swag talk about the grant money. Did you hear about the grant money? I see some spirit fingers in the crowd if you heard about that $25,000. Yeah, spirit fingers. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Bring it on, baby. Okay, so for that grant money, there's $25,000 available. Now, they're going to be giving out anywhere between $1,000 to $5,000 for those grants. There's been a lot of confusion with this, so make sure you go online. Make sure that you're signed up. And also for the people looking at home, make sure that you email foundation@state48.com. Let us know if you haven't received the email yet. All these costs could go toward a lot of things. It could be startup costs for your businesses, product development, marketing campaigns, branding, licenses, permits, legal, and more. The winners are going to be announced in November, so don't be blowing up Mike's DMs until then talking about where's my money at type of thing. So take your time when you're going out there. And also, too, we want to introduce our panel that's going to come up here and kind of put us on game right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get them started. first off, we have Ashley Richards. Ashley Richards, she is I am so sorry about this. The founder and CEO of E Squared Marketing. I was looking at her video on social media. That was pretty cool. Then also we have Scott Harkley. He's the founder and CEO of OH Advertising. Then we have Sarah Schmillen. She's the VP of Marketing at Kahala Brands. And then Terrence Murtaugh. He's an entrepreneur and also a lifelong student. I like that. A lot of people out there feel like they learned everything. You can't learn everything. You got to be a lifelong student. So I'll have them come on stage right now, and they will have a little bit of time to introduce themselves to the crowd. Give them a round of applause. I love that. It was like air horns, right? All right, so Ashley, we'll have you introduce yourself first.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. It's so good to see everybody. As mentioned, my name is Ashley. I'm the founder of E Squared Marketing. We're a digital marketing agency. We love what we do. We service clients across the nation. I started my company 7 years ago when I had my first child. I had a great corporate marketing job, and they wanted me to come back full time, and I felt very strongly that I could do both and I could do it well. So today I have a team of 28. A majority of my team are working moms. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about my community and my culture and what makes us a little bit unique as an organization, but that is a part of it. So happy to be here.
Okay, did I turn it on right? Okay, cool. My name's Scott Harkey. I run a group of ad agencies in town, OH Partners being our integrated agency. We have a digital agency, Nomadic. We have a film company, Matter Films. We have a research company. We have a public affairs company. So we've built like this little family of specialized marketing services. Just like Mike and probably a lot of entrepreneurs in here, I definitely started with less than $5,000 about 15 years ago. It was my dream to do marketing and kind of been in the trenches ever since. So just happy to be here with a bunch of cool entrepreneurs and people. So.
Hi, everyone. Is this on? Can you hear me? My name is Sarah Schmellen. I'm Vice President of Marketing at Kahala Brands. We own and operate 28 different restaurant concepts globally. The ones that you might be most familiar with would be Cold Stone Creamery, Pinkberry, America's Taco Shop. We just had a recent acquisition of Famous Dave's, which is Barrio, Queen, Village Inn, a couple others. So we are a pretty big entity, but we support our franchise community of store owners. So we, though, sit in our lovely ivory tower. We are providing assets and resources so that our owners and entrepreneurs could be successful in their endeavors and pay their mortgages. So excited to be here, and thank you all.
What's up, everybody? My name is Terrence Murtaugh. Yeah, what's up? I started a company 13 years ago called Heavy Pedal. We sell cycling apparel, and I like to just preface that I successfully sell spandex to men, which, can we get a little round of applause? Yeah. I also co-founded with my fiance First Place Coffee, which is a coffee truck. You probably have seen it rolling around town. So we have First Place Coffee. And then the thing that I like to do the most and what I went to school for was web design and web development. So on the side, I take on like clients for web design and development just to stay sharp and learn about more people's businesses and the inner workings. Yeah.
Great. So a lot of experience right here on the stage right now. So we're going to learn a lot of great information. So one of the first questions I want to ask everyone right now, there's a lot of starting entrepreneurs right now, just starting in the game, and you're trying to figure out what to do. What marketing lane do I get in? So this is a question for all of you. Where do you start, and how do you pick that marketing lane at best you get to? So actually, we'll start down from you and then just come all the way down.
Yeah, I think that if you ask 10 people where to start in marketing, you're going to get 10 different answers. It's overwhelming, the amount of avenues that you can go for marketing, right? And one of the big things that I recommend is really understanding your audience. And do not tell me that everybody is your audience, because that is a lie. You've got to start with your core audience. Who are you selling your product to? Who are you talking to? And figure out where your audience is. They're not everywhere. So that's where I recommend you start, is the deep dive in who you're talking to, who you're selling to, who's your service for.
Okay. I'm looking in the audience, and I've heard like entrepreneurs, I've heard marketing people. So to Ashley's point, I just want to see out there who's an entrepreneur in the audience. Raise your hand. Okay. Who's in like startup phase? Okay. Who's freaked the F out on where they're at right now? Right? Okay. When marketing comes up, because you're at a marketing conference, who's super freaked out? Like, what am I going to do here, right? Okay. I would say just two very simple things. I think a lot of times, like agency people like me and others, like we try to complicate things and say smart shit. But here's the deal, like when you're in the streets and you're just starting out, I think two things come to mind. Number one is have a marketing budget. Think about what percentage of sales you have today, and I'm talking about net profit, right, or net revenue. Take a percentage of that, between 5 and 20% of that number, and do some marketing shit. And some of it you're going to fail, and some of it's going to work, okay? Don't get too caught up into that, because you're type A crazy people. You guys will be like, oh, this shit didn't work. Just spend it, and pick a percentage and do it. Number two is you're not your customer, okay? You're selling shit to other people who are your customer. You're not the customer, so you don't know what they want. So you really need to really deeply understand your customers, and that's talking physically to your customers all the time so you know what they want. Those are just the two, I would say, simple things, is have a percentage budget based on net profit, net revenue, okay? And then really understand who your customer is and what the hell they want so you can sell them some shit.
Sell more shit.
We can close the whole thing
Yeah,
up.
in there. And we're done. I would underscore what Ashley said, and I would add on to what Scott said. So underscoring what Ashley said, get really clear on who you are and what you are. Because once you're really clear on what that is, marketing channels will make themselves totally apparent to you. For example, at Cold Stone, we're not healthy and we're not cheap. So you're not going to find us doing something in a value space. We're not going to be putting coupons in a Valpak or an ad on Ibotta. So once you get really clear on what you stand for, those channels will become pretty apparent. So that's my underscore for Ashley. To dovetail off of what Scott said, in addition to deciding your budget, decide your time. It's so easy to get caught up in the to-do list and what you got to get done, what you got to get shipped out, and who you got to call back, and what emails you need to send, forms you need to file for. Pick a value of time. So I would recommend at least an hour a day. If you need to, make that 5 hours on a weekend. But budget some time, because it's going to get pushed back to the wayside, because technically it doesn't have to get done. Your shipments have to get out, but you don't have to do that post on Facebook today if you don't get around to it. So put it on your calendar, budget the time, and those would be my two recommendations.
It's really hard to follow all that good information and actually have something better to add to that. So I just like to go to the next question and yeah.
Yo, I love the realness up here right now. Well, we'll start with you. Okay.
Start with me, yeah. Can I get a starting question?
Well, you know what? A lot of people that are starting out right now as entrepreneurs, they face a lot of challenges when it comes to marketing. Like, for the biggest challenges that they have, what advice would you give to the entrepreneurs for the challenges that they're going to have? Some of them don't even know what challenges they're going to have. How can you help them with that?
Sure. So I think marketing is like always getting harder. So, you know, the faster that you can jump in and actually start to and also I think like the day you decide you're an entrepreneur is the day you're like, I'm gonna go and sell some stuff for myself, or I'm gonna work for myself. How many people just want to work for themselves? Like, right? You just want to go and work for yourself. So the day you decide that you're an entrepreneur, you need to instantly pivot and go and decide that you're also a marketer. And then just start marketing your business. Get into like the Facebook Ads Manager, get 100% lost. The cool thing is like, you don't have to have these humongous budgets. You can spend $20, you know, on a campaign. Not to say that you're gonna like strike it rich or anything, but you don't have to have like this humongous budget, but you do have to get started. And I think that, you know, the sooner you can do that, the cheaper it is, the more you're going to be able to, data's becoming harder and harder to get on our customers because of all the iOS updates and the algorithm changes. So the faster you can start using those tools, the better. That's what I would say.
It is for everybody. So we about to pass it down. So go ahead, Sarah.
I am not an entrepreneur, so I don't know what challenges you're going to face. So I'm going to skip me, and we're just going to keep going with the entrepreneurs.
You up next. What kind of do they have to do?
All right. Look, I think the first thing I see it, and I do this as an entrepreneur, is we're doing too much stuff, right? We're trying to do too many tactics. So typically when I look at a marketing plan and someone's like doing 10 or 15 different things because they think they have to be on all the things, right? All the shit. You got to be on TikTok, you got to be on this, you got to be on that. Like, no, you don't. Like, I would limit the tactics because you'll just make yourself crazy. And the second thing I would just say, and I know it's very cliche, and I'm gonna say it anyway because it's important, is fail fast. Like, just try shit. You know what I mean? Like, I've been amazed at even like, we're working with bigger brands. When I first started, I was working with like anyone who would pay me any number of money to do some sort of marketing. And I'm amazed at like just the stuff we learn when we're failing, right? And whether that's going into Facebook Ad Manager and trying out budget, which I think is great, or just trying different content out, because you never know what's going to work. Like, I'm always amazed at how wrong I am at some marketing opinion I have. And so I think the key today in marketing is less about strategy, although I would definitely recommend having a strategy. Please have some sort of strategy, but fail fast, pivot fast. And that's the new digital world of today's entrepreneurs, is just trying stuff. Like, no one's going to remember that you failed at something. Everyone's too busy and too self-centered to worry about it. So just try shit and fail as fast as possible.
Yeah, you stole a lot of the things. Thanks, Scott. Just kidding. So I'm going to speak more on the digital space, and it's loud, you guys. And if you start a new business, you've got a lot of competition out there that everybody's trying to talk to your same audience. And so really diving into that audience and taking it, where is it? Okay, if they're on Facebook, then you're going to pour into that platform. And I always say it's not up to us as an agency or up to the client what content, it's up to your audience. And so diving into the analytics, which are free on all these platforms, what content's doing well? Why is it doing well? What's increasing the engagement? What's the buzz, right? And so that's what I recommend. And getting vulnerable, getting raw. One thing I love about State 48, and I follow them, is they talk about behind the scenes. They talk about their wins. They talk about their losses. That's important. Don't just, flash the shiny wins. That's not why people follow you. So getting vulnerable, getting raw and real, and going exactly where your audience is. And, I'm always a fan, if you're worried about somebody taking your handle, go save all your company handle names on every platform. Just have your logins. It doesn't mean you need to pour into it right now. Maybe that makes sense down the road. Just keep it, put it in your back pocket, and focus on where your people are.
And speaking about that too, you guys were talking about analytics and doing your research stuff too. If you guys don't know how to do that, I feel like that's so important that we have the organizations right over here. These are free people that you could talk to that can help you out with that. So we're going to get done here. So go ahead and go over there too, because I know I have a small business idea. I need to get over there as well. So as soon as I get done, I'm heading over there too. This question is for Scott and Sarah. Now, budget is a big factor in marketing. We have people that have big marketing budgets, and we have people that have small marketing budgets. What should you do if you have a small marketing budget, and then what should you do if you have a big marketing budget?
So from where I sit, we have kind of 3 different layers of budgets. We obviously have a big national budget, we have regional budgets, and we have local budgets. For our local and regional budgets, we really strongly encourage our store owners to utilize those funds to drive traffic and sales to their stores exclusively. We really encourage them not to even bother with any other kind of content, ads, messaging. Just try to get to a purchase in as few steps as possible. Remove as many hurdles and barriers between when they click that ad or see that post to when they're actually converting to a sale. On the national level, when you get into a space where you have bigger budgets, that's where we really then start to encourage things like brand awareness. So I think it's important to just focus on sales when you need the sales, and then move on to larger brand awareness when you can afford to do that. But I would underscore both of those things by saying measure your return on ad spend. I think at the end of the day, that's really going to tell you where those dollars are most effective. For us, we recommend about, based on our check averages, we want to see about a $4 return on ad spend for every $1 we spend in advertising, and that's kind of baseline. Of course, anything above and beyond that does great. And then we tweak and modify the ad buys based on that. And as Ashley was just underscoring, there's obviously the digital space. You can pivot so quickly, fail fast. So if you're noticing that return on ad spend just really isn't at the thresholds you need it to be, quit it and move on to something else. So that would be my feedback on budgets.
Okay, I need to focus. Look, one thing I want to say is I think we forget how much people see in terms of advertising that's out there. It's a shitload, like a lot. You know how many people see ads a day? Like how many ads is average American consumer seeing? Anyone want to take a guess? How many? 800? 100? Anyone else want to take a guess? 150. 2,500 ads a day, okay? Google put out a study, this was about a year ago, and they said that the average American consumer needed to see an impression of an ad 22 times in a month to even exist in their mind. It's freaking crazy. So the biggest problem I see with 99% of ad campaigns or marketing campaigns or failure in marketing is what I call buttering the toast too thin, right? You're not putting enough frequency to people to be successful. So you quit and you give up, right? And so I think the way to think about it is focus on a smaller audience and more frequency, number one, if it's digital, and focus on other stuff as an advantage to small business, okay? Big brands can't be cool. They can't get earned media. They can't do community shit. Like, they just can't. They're soulless corporate companies, right? In some cases. Not Cold Stone.
Burn!
Not Cold Stone. Shit.
Oh my God.
They have huge budgets and great food.
That's right.
And they're going to crush you because of that. So what is your advantage, right? I'm talking to entrepreneurs here. Like, I represent a lot of big brands. They can outspend you all day long. So you have to focus on what assets you have. I think earned media is a huge missed opportunity for local businesses, right? People care what you're doing locally. You can own a local market.
Define earned media for the group.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Sarah, as I burned Cold Stone. We have a great ad agency. We should talk.
I'm sure you'd represent us well.
So look, there's earned and owned, right? But earned media, I think PR is very undervalued. So there's great PR boutiques in town. There's great freelancers in town. I always recommend. I think PR is a way to get earned media out there. And again, own this local audience. Like, find a way to own high frequency with like a smaller audience that's like your vibe people, like your tribe of people, instead of getting out too far and, again, buttering that toast too thin. If you're going to run ad manager, you're going to run some sort of ads, you're going to run a billboard, you're going to dip into more, top-level awareness kind of stuff, like you're going to be buttering the toast too thin a little bit. So, again, focus on what advantage small business has, and then focus on frequency. You need to talk to people a lot of times, because you're at a raging party in social media, and people aren't going to know you're doing anything. Sorry, sir.
Now, Scott was talking about earned media. This is so interesting. So I work for the show Your Life Arizona that airs on 3TV. And so it's interesting because people will come to us and say, like, hey, we're trying to get some earned media. So I found out one of my hosts, she survived breast cancer, and so she doesn't drink anymore. So I was trying to look for some mocktails that she can go and try type of thing at a local restaurant. So I saw an email come in from one of the restaurants in Scottsdale and said, hey, we have some mocktails. So I know that they're really just trying to showcase their mocktails, their food, all of this stuff. But I turned it into something that's going to help us out. There's a lot of people that's been touched by cancer, or just a lot of people that don't drink anymore. So I had them come out, and so I helped out my anchor because I was able to help her out saying, like, yo, here go the mocktails. And that's the earned media instead of them coming in paying for our paid programming for the show. So earned media is important. So when PR people are sending that out, we are looking for those emails, but it's also important too that I want to make sure I satisfy, my anchors on the show or what we're trying to do as well. Terrence, you had a question you wanted to ask.
Yeah,
there.
Scott, when we had like the early meetings, we were talking about the budget stuff. You were talking about like these like big production videos and then like cell phone video. Could you riff on that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So look, we, Matter Films, we're doing $1 million, production stuff. We're doing hundreds of thousands of dollar, production stuff, and renting studios and, paid talent and actor, all this shit, and sound and lighting and all this stuff. And that's how people were making commercials for a long time. Well, now social media, like people want authentic video. Like you can shoot stuff on a cell phone. I've been schooled on this big time. I've had to like get schooled. Like as Mike knows, I'm wrong a lot in some marketing opinions. But social media is one of those. Right now, I think the biggest hidden gem on social is Instagram Reels, and I would say YouTube Shorts. And actually making an authentic, chill, just cell phone production or even a smaller production is where it's at. Like you don't need the big productions anymore. Which I was a production snob for a long time. I'm like, oh, your video looks like shit. Like, don't be posting this, realtor. Like, come on, what are you doing? Like the Zoom video. People want that now because people want to be relatable to other people, right? We're human beings relating to humans. So I think the production game's really changed, and it's kind of blown my mind. And I've watched like literally views on Reels from highly produced videos on A/B testing to like more authentic cell phone videos, and those are what's converting. If you look all the ads and as you're scrolling now, you're seeing more user-generated videos that are actually somewhat produced, but they look user-generated. It's crazy. Even the bigger brands are wanting to go to that mode. So that's a huge advantage for small business. It kind of blew my mind to your point because, again, I still think that there's opportunity for high-level production. If you want to create something cool like a brand launch video, or you want like something to play in your lobby, or you want like this thing that's going to last 10 years, like okay, produce something pretty cool. But for like just how-to videos or about your brand or Q&A, like you can have lower production, which is I would say changed in the last 12 months ish. Are you guys doing that at Cold Center? Are you going all of the gamut on production?
Yeah, so we actually now officially have 2 production companies, one doing the more highly stylized, $1 million productions, and then we've hired a more local agency to come in and literally they're recording on their cell phones in our test store. So yes, we're doing that. And I just want to underscore something you just said. Instagram Reels. Ad Age just posted on their Instagram account a story highlighting Washington Post's success on Instagram, and they go through 4 very specific points as to why the Washington Post account is doing so well, and it is related directly back to Instagram Reels. So Instagram actually issued a statement saying they will prioritize Reels and video content over static posts. So if you're interested, go look it up, but just to underscore what Scott's saying about it being pretty underutilized, you could get pretty good exposure there if you can post a couple reels a week.
Social media is so interesting. Go ahead, go.
No, I was going to say, so I just came back from this conference. It's the National Association of Black Journalists, and one of my friends, Terrence, is in charge of the Instagram for the Washington Post. When he,
know him.
You know Terrence, yes.
It's not me.
I know, not this Terrence. He wouldn't be here, right? But I remember it had it was like 500,000 or 600,000 followers when he took over. He has 6.1 million followers now. So this is real what we're talking about. And I don't know if this makes you mad. This makes me so mad. I'll put together a super well-produced reel, and then somebody will put something together where they're like this or something like that, and it does like 500,000 views. So it's all about, it sounds like the quantity over the quality sometimes. But, whatever hits, that's what you got to do type of thing. So, yeah, I like that discussion right there. Moving along, Terrence and Ashley, how has the community played a role in building your brand, and then how important is it? So I'll start with you, Terrence, and we'll go to Ashley.
Sure. So with First Place Coffee, we self-funded a lot in the beginning to the tune of about $60,000. And when you start to see that leave your bank account, it hurts a little bit, you know? And then we got towards the end, and they're like, oh, to power this bad boy, you're going to need these two 7,000-watt Honda generators. And I was just like, cool, how much are those? And then I was just blown away by the cost of these generators. So I just thought, like, well, what can we do? You know what I mean? And I've created a big community with Heavy Pedal already. And I know a lot of people in Phoenix. Do I know any of you here? Boom, I see some hands up. So, like, I tapped into, like, the Phoenix community. Thank you. I tapped into the Phoenix community, the cycling community, and the coffee community, and I launched a Kickstarter for First Place Coffee. And I think we were able to raise like $40,000, which is more than the generators weren't. Don't think that those were $40,000 generators, but we were able to raise $40,000 just by tapping into the community. You know what I mean? The people that we've been nurturing for years. And the difference between like an audience and a community is like an audience is there for something, but there's nothing connecting them, and then a community is there for something, but they all have like shared values and beliefs and things like that. And we continue that community aspect. Sorry, am I going too long? Okay,
Nah,
cool.
take your time, brother. Keep preaching.
We continue the community aspect, and like we'll touch on like the social media part. When I started First Place Coffee, I was like, every single day we're gonna take 10 people's photos. We're gonna ask them what their Instagram handle is, and we're gonna post them on our Instagram. And we actually used to park outside OH Partners, so a lot of OH is on our Instagram and those older posts. But what that would do is, you know, people love to be posted, they love to be seen, and then like on Instagram, their friend, if you're tagged in a post and people go to like the explore page, they're probably going to show you that post because your friend was tagged in it. And that's how we really like utilize, you know, building a community around First Place Coffee. And it is a coffee truck right now, but we are looking to grow. And I can only imagine that, you know, we're going to tap into the community again when we get ready to go into a physical location and move into brick and mortar. And I'm not saying like create a community so you could take their money. Like I'm not saying that. You know what I mean? People love coming to the truck. We see people coming to the truck, and at the coffee truck, a big thing is like if you bring your dog, like people just love it because it's outdoors. You know. So we see people come to the truck, and then they're like, oh, everyone brings dogs, and then they'll bring a dog, and then like two people meet at the truck, and all of a sudden they're dating, and then like they come to the truck and they're pregnant, and you're just like, I like everything. I don't like I'm part of your life, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just really cool, and you don't really get that or like know those people and understand them. Don't come to the coffee truck, you'll get pregnant. Is basically what I'm saying. No, but when you create something like that, you're like in part of these people's lives, and like, you know, why would you go to another coffee shop? You know, you go to any coffee shop, you know what I mean? But it's the community aspect that makes people come to ours. Yeah.
I love this question. This is my favorite one of the night. I believe that your community is your ultimate sales team organically. And people are like, how do I find my community, right? I always look at what's your differentiators. There's thousands and thousands of digital agencies that do exactly what I do in Arizona. How am I different? What makes me stand out? And my big thing is the working mom, the woman side, and I lead with that. And so you know who my top clients became when I first started? My first clients were women. They were moms. They were women-owned businesses. They were women executives. They were in my corner. They were rah-rahing for me. All of my friends that are moms, that are women, were like, yes, I love this. How can I help you? They were referring business to me. And still to this day, a majority of my clients are led by women, or if they're not, they're married and they're very close to their wives and their family, and they love that community feel of what we bring and that they're truly helping families, because my entire team are all families. So that's what I would recommend, is building that community, and they really will be the ultimate sales force for you organically. And that's the best type of business, are those referrals. They feel like they already know you, they've got that connection, and that's a huge win for your business.
You know, something that's cool too, I know you were saying with the coffee shop, you take some of the pictures and post them on social media. You know, we've been having this crazy weather this week. I just came from the station right now, Channel 3 TV. There was like a small little storm that was here for like 20 seconds and left. I'm looking right now on our Facebook page for Channel 3. We have 67,000 followers on there. People are just posting small little short 10-second videos just to see them on TV just for a second, but they're going to wait all newscasts just to see it. So it feels like community is a big part just because they want to see that. And this is kind of going a little bit backwards because you guys answered it, but I still think it's important. Leveraging social media. I know that's really important. Sarah, we're going to start with you because I feel like I haven't heard you speak in a while, so we're going to get you speaking. Leveraging social media, or as marketing experts, how do you advise the clients or brands to use social media?
So I'm sure that the group on the stage can answer this more better for you, but from where we stand, we really encourage franchisees to use social media as a tool for connection in their community. So it's a great way to come off that last question. I think the more you support your community, the more your community supports you. So the more you can lift them up, the more they'll lift you up. So I actually, while we were prepping for this panel, Janice shared a Google Doc, and I was kind of writing in there. So you can go and look at this in just a second. But what I wrote in the Google Doc was, go follow Ashley. She does a great job at lifting up her team, her company, her family. She did a great job echoing this whole speaker series. If you want to watch somebody lead by example, she's your girl.
Woo-hoo! Gotta pay her later for that. That's a good one. But yeah, I love social media, right? This is my entire business. It's how I feed my family, but it's how I humanize myself. I've had tons of messages. People are like, I'm coming for you. I'm coming to see you, right? And that's the beauty of it, is the conversation piece of social. Don't move away from that. Don't just try to sell. Build the community. People can look straight through the bullshit, right? They know when you're being fake. Be humanizing and lift your team and lift your family and lift everything that's really important to you. You know, when I first started my business, my kids were little, and I remember sliding the glass door. They looked like puppies that were like up for adoption, crying in the window, because I didn't want anyone to know that I was working from home with 2 kids. I didn't want them to hear them in the background. And now I promote it. I mean, all of my team, who a lot of them are here, they're taking photos with their families, with their kids climbing all over them. They're sharing them on social, like, this is what working from home looks like. And so it's really built this incredible cause and community. So use your own social media. Talk about business, talk about your family, be vulnerable, use it, because it is such an incredible tool. And I know we've talked about ads, we've talked about content, but something else is influencers that I think are really under tapped too. Don't think that someone has to have 100,000 followers to be an influencer with your brand. Some of my top influencers here are between 7,500 and 1,500. They are 15,000. They share, hey, I'm going to be at this event. Oh man, they come in groves. So find people that love your brand and have conversations with them. We have great relationships with influencers, and they'll do things for free for us, for trade. If we have opportunities to pay them, great, we'd love to. But having that relationship and having them share with their community is a great thing. And that's what we did, right? So all of us were sharing about this panel, and a lot of us are here because of our connections and our shareability. So it really does show the power of social and the content piece.
I echo everything they said, of course. I mean, but I will tell you, you know, we are in, I believe, the decade of the personal brand, and that's really hard. Social media is hard. How authentic you have to be, what you post. You got friends and family on there. Like, it kind of sucks, honestly. Like, it's really hard. And I think you have to take it with a grain of salt, because it can really, I think, be overwhelming, even for big brands, personal brands, like everybody. Social media can be an amazing tool, and people that do it well can see huge success, but it's definitely a work in progress. And the algorithms change all the time. So we're talking about Reels right now because, you know, Meta and YouTube want to take out TikTok, so they're pumping up, you know, Reels and YouTube Shorts. Tomorrow's going to be something else, right? I truly believe that social media are some of the best advertising platforms out there. So you don't have to build this like personal brand and be like this influencer. Like, that's really hard. I do believe people that are really good at that and that are committed to that can see major success. But that's, you know, social media is one way to be successful building your business. It's not the only way. And you don't have to go down a personal brand road. There is absolutely opportunities becoming a personal brand because human beings want to connect with human beings. So if you're already a human being, that's a leg up, right? That's why you see plumbers with, they're the person on the ad, personal injury attorneys, you see their face on the billboard, right? Human beings want to connect with human beings. That's why Kellogg's created, different animal characteristics because we want to connect with humans, not brands. So having a personal brand is an advantage, but it is really hard, and don't get discouraged. Like, the algorithm's going to change. You're going to get frustrated. Friends are going to be like, oh, are you trying to be an influencer now? And you're going to be like, well, I'm just trying to build my business. Like, it's hard. That's okay. Like, Ashley does a great job. Mike does a great job. There's people who do a great job. There's other people that fail at it. Like, it's hard. So just know there's other avenues out there, and it can be not just an organic platform, but a great ad platform if you're selling stuff. So social media is crazy. It's not like it's cut and dry, easy thing. So I guess I'm gonna take a different approach there.
Well, Scott, you were just saying that just fail quick. I mean, it's going to be changing all the time anyway, but you might as well just try stuff out. Like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen?
100%. Yeah. I'm not saying don't try stuff. I'm just saying, like, a year ago we were talking about, how great micro influencers are, and next year it's Reels, and after that it's like you got to be on TikTok, and then all of a sudden it's like this new thing that like we don't even know about. It's like, oh, you should be on Snapchat, but Snapchat 1 minute's worth $150 billion, and the next minute it's worth 10 billion. Like it changes very fast, and so just be willing to roll, I think, with the punches. And I just hate when I think marketers, we get overwhelming of like all this stuff that you have to do, and I hate that for me anyway.
Now, next one, Ashley, I was going to start with you because I know that this goes well, the digital marketing landscape, but we haven't heard it from Terrence in a while, so I'm going to let him start. I'm going to go straight to you. But how does the digital marketing landscape play right now, like the roles that it's playing right now? How should people be moving with that?
I like the digital landscape, like just because I think it evens the playing field. It allows like so many people to be able to play. You don't have to be like a huge brand to be able to exist in the digital world, So that's like the biggest change that I think. And yeah, that I remember I was writing talking points for all these questions, and the main one for me was that it evens the playing field, and maybe getting in there, utilizing it, and failing fast is like the way to go.
Kind of piggyback off what you said, what worked yesterday will most likely not work tomorrow. And I recommend getting comfortable with being uncomfortable in this space because it changes all the time. We have significant pressure to provide great content for our clients, and we're half the time trying to figure out what's coming around the corner that we can get in front of. What are trends that you can jump on, right? So it's hard because people try to plan ahead, but now we're actually planning sooner because if there's a trend this week, we want to jump on that trend for our client now. So it's moving even faster, which I don't think any of us thought was possible, that digital can move faster, and it is. These videos, as you guys know, they fly up and everyone's seeing them everywhere, and then they go down and they're gone, right? So are you going to jump on that or are you not? And so understanding what is coming up. There's some great podcasts out there. There's some great newsletters that you can subscribe to talking about the changes that are coming up on these platforms and start planning for them ahead of time. We knew Reels were going to be a big deal. As soon as TikTok was really a thing and it was doing well, those were launched and we knew that was going to be a big one. One experience that I'll share too is whatever's new on these platforms, they are going to push the hardest. Think of social media as levers, right? So grid posts were them for a long time, so that was the lever that was open. And then stories, right? When stories came out, everyone's like, whoa, 10 people saw my grid post, but I had 1,500 people see my story, right? Because that was the lever that was open at that point. And now it's video, it's short films, it's reels. What's next? Whatever they come up with next, jump on that because that is going to be the lever that's open at that point. And that's selfishly what these platforms want is you to use them and people to see them and view them. So just remember that lever that's open.
You know what? You're talking about Reels right now. Let me go ahead and start one real quick as we're talking. Let me go ahead and slow this down real quick. All right, we got the people out of the house, so we'll go ahead and post that later on. But let's go ahead and get that out. Scott and Ashley, what are your thoughts on traditional marketing like advertising and PR versus digital marketing and social media?
Okay, loaded question, but
super loaded.
It's all good. Look, when you say digital marketing, right? That's SEO, SEM, website, social, like all this. It's so much to think about. Out there, I want to understand how many people have like e-commerce brands out there. Who's doing more e-commerce, return on ad spend, ROAS kind of stuff? Who's more brick and mortar? Okay, some brick and mortar. Okay, professional services. Okay, so a complete 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Perfect. I think the way I like to think simply in terms of advertising is a funnel. And I know everyone's seen the funnel, and probably people are sick of marketing people showing the stupid freaking funnel. But it's important because you have an awareness piece, right? And you have the middle piece of the funnel, and then you have like the conversion piece. So look, return on ad spend is really important from a digital media standpoint. And whether you're doing Google pay-per-click or you're doing, social ads and looking for return on ad spend, like you're trying to sell stuff and you're looking, if I spend this, I'm trying to get this. But then you have higher pieces to the funnel, like the more awareness piece, right? And then you have the mid-level piece and the loyalty piece. Like I would really kind of look at a funnel and figure out what tactics you're doing based on each funnel, right? Conversion funnel, that loyalty funnel, that consideration piece of the funnel, that awareness piece of the funnel, and having just a few tactics that your customers are on each piece of this funnel. And don't think about digital versus traditional, right? Like everybody's on some sort of digital. If you're watching Hulu, is that a television or is that digital? Who cares, right? It's more about where people are in their journey of the funnel. And so that's how I would like to think of it personally.
Trends come and go with marketing, right? And everyone's digital. But there were two things that made a significant comeback during COVID. One, QR codes. Come on, everyone was ready to write that off. Everyone deleted their QR code scanner on their phone a long time ago. And then it got creative that you can use the camera piece of it. And now QR codes are back, right? They're everywhere. Your grandma knows how to use it because she needed to use it at the doctor's office, right? They're everywhere. So that made a comeback. And two, mailers. Mailers made a comeback. We did mailers during COVID, and they killed it. You know why? Because everyone was at home. And everyone, before you get your mail, and it was just full of all these papers. And now, guess what it is? It's your email. Your email is now full of all that junk. So we did a creative spin. We did mailers for a restaurant within a certain perimeter, and it did amazing because everyone was checking their mail. They were at home. So don't write off some of the old school mentality of marketing because it's available and it's there for you if your audience is there and if it makes sense for your business. But those are two things that I thought were going out that are right back in.
And that's exactly what we're doing on our show. When we have businesses come on our show, they have a super long email address that our hosts, if you say it, it's going to take too long. Who's writing that down? So I've been suggesting, let's just put a QR code on there. People could just scan it. I think there was in the Super Bowl last year, there was that ad where they just had a QR code and everyone's thinking, is their TV tripping for a second? But you had time to get on there and scan it. Even for me, for my business cards right now, there's apps where you could just scan the QR code and stuff too. So I think that's important. So we wrapped up our questions right now, but I want to give all of our panelists a chance to share one or two thoughts of what you want people to walk away with, the two most important things you want people to have as they leave the doors. And we'll start with Big Scott over here because I think he wants to talk there.
All right, I thought we were doing puff, puff, pass. Okay.
I wanted to say it, but I was like, I don't know who's watching.
What's a good two things?
Two biggest things you want people to walk away with as they leave the doors.
Yeah, I try to simplify things. Like, I'm a college dropout, so I want things as simple as possible, okay? Yeah, exactly. That's all entrepreneurs like, screw this, let's do our own thing. I think, again, I'm a big fan of having a strategy. So understanding, who your customers are. We talked about it today, like how you're differentiated. Like if they're zigging, you're zagging, right? You're different, who your customer is, and what's authentic and true to your brand. If you just think of those kind of three things in terms of developing a strategy, and then develop a budget. Think about what your sales are going to be and have a percentage of that budget. And, be a ninja and spend it, how you want and make moves with it and just have fun with it and know you're going to fail 50% of the time. The best marketers in the world fail 50% of the time with marketing, okay? So it's okay. And I would just simplify it as simple as possible. I think that's somewhat simple.
I've got two things. One, find your differentiators. What makes your business different? That's where you're going to find your community for sure. Make sure that you find that. And start with that, absolutely, is going to be the most critical thing. and just get started, you guys. YouTube is your best friend. You don't know how to run ads manager? There are a bazillion videos out there to get you started, and you're going to spend way too much time trying to navigate it, and that is okay. You need to learn it. YouTube it. I mean, if I could see some of my history of YouTube searches, when I first started my business, I found like YouTube, like how to change a diaper, how to, deal with a colicky child, like, all the things that life throws at you, but use YouTube.
I love how Sarah did. All right, go ahead to Terrace.
Yeah, I like the thing about like just don't be afraid and just start. Like, how many haven't started yet, but you're like want to be an entrepreneur but haven't started yet? Oh, that's amazing. I see like halfway hands. Well, that's good. Yeah, just don't be afraid. Like I too remember, YouTube University, like just going on there and just trying to figure everything out. What I would add to that is like find a like guru or professional or someone who resonates with you, and try to learn from just one person instead of like learning from all these different avenues, because you're going to get all these different like ideas and thoughts. And then if you lose money, like don't like run for the hills. Just like, take a second, look everything over and see where you can make some changes, and then attempt it again. Yeah.
I feel like we're taking it to the start. So what I said at the beginning, I'm going to say now, and Ashley said it too. Just get really clear on who you are and what you stand for. Come up with 5 things, 3 things. What is it? Are you passionate about grilled cheese? Do you love your family? And also shoes. Whatever your things are, and then that's what you're talking about. You don't have to be everything to everyone. Just kind of figure out who you are. Get really clear on that. Get really dialed in, and make the time. I don't know if any of you remember those old like kind of platitude posters on the wall, but there was one that always sticks with me, and it's kind of like you're never going to have all the good ideas. So just mind the intellect of all those people around you and take the nuggets that spark something for you, whatever that is. I'm sure you probably took notes from all of us of some little path you want to run down. But you're already, this is the platitude on the wall, you're already lapping everybody on the couch. It's that poster about just getting out and running. It doesn't matter if you walk, it doesn't matter if you jog, it doesn't matter if you run, you're lapping everybody on the couch. There's so many people who don't advertise, who aren't marketing their business. So the fact that you even start, you're lapping everybody on the couch. So just start, whatever that is.
That's exactly what I needed to hear, and I think it's important. Just get started. And there's a lot of people here to help you. You just heard on stage. We have resources right over there. I want everybody to give a round of applause to our panelists right now. And I know that everybody probably has some questions for the panelists, so if you would like to raise your hands right now, we will get a microphone to you, and you will be able to ask your question. Okay, we'll start right here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. What are your, other than YouTube, agreed, what are your go-to online marketing resources for project management, content creation, scheduling, listening? Like, what is your go-to online resource?
I have the mic, so I'm going. There's a ton out there. Our agency uses Sprout Social, is definitely on the more expensive side. Later is a good one that is a little bit more inexpensive. But if you really want to dive into the analytics, I think Sprout is the best. And the one-seat partnership is pretty inexpensive, so that's what I would recommend for sure. Canva is great. A pro membership is like $10 a month. So if you're not ready for a whole graphic designer, Canva is your best friend for sure, is another big one. We use Monday.com for our servicing and all of our communications. Again, a lot of these are very entrepreneur friendly. They're very inexpensive to get started. So those are the tools that we use the most in our business, at least especially when we first started.
Who's downloaded GA4, Google Analytics 4? Everyone knows Google Analytics 4 is coming out. Okay. Put this on your list, make a note. GA4 is coming out if you have previous analytics. better get Google Analytics 4. It's a huge deal. So I'm gonna just we do a lot with Google. We're a Google Premier Partner. As much as I don't like about Google, which is a lot, they have amazing tools and a lot of free tools. Of course, Sprout Social, I couldn't agree with you more. And then the other one, I think, I've looked at a lot of CRMs in terms for email. I like HubSpot a lot, personally. Love HubSpot. There's a lot you can do. It's very user-friendly. Some of their terms and conditions I don't love, like you can't leave them if you want to leave them, so watch out for that. But there's just not a better solution, I think, for small business. I mean, we are a HubSpot agency as well. So those are great. And then Meta owns the world. So I think looking at the analytics inside Facebook and Meta and Instagram, I think I heard a stat the other day, I think 2 billion people a day get on not just Instagram, but Facebook every day. So the analytics inside there, and you can see your customers, I think those are great too. So
I'm going to skip me because all of ours are enterprise level stuff. So on over.
So your question was like, other than learning stuff on YouTube, where do we go to learn stuff? Or what was your question? Go-to marketing resources. I think there's like this guy who does this thing called Smart Marketer or something like that. And they have a bunch of courses that you can look at and take. So that might be a resource for you to look at all that stuff that's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm really glad that you talked about community, Terrence, because I have seen that community that comes.
You're not pregnant yet.
I'm not. That's a different topic, but either way, I have been personally a part of that community that stood out in the rain, like on a holiday for 45 minutes to get a black coffee, and just seeing that there's like 350 people out there doing it as well is just super cool. When you guys have that type of community already, how do you, and this is open for everybody, what do you even feel like you can do to continue to grow that community that you know is that loyal? Because I feel like it's sometimes maybe hard to grow that loyal community, but I know that there are ways too.
Yeah, I think this was going to be one of my what are your three things. I think that there's to grow that community, you just have to continue to nurture them, find different ways to nurture them, Just because I see you at the coffee truck doesn't mean I can't get you on an email list and nurture you through email and continue to speak to you there. It doesn't mean that you can't follow me on social media and engage there, you know what I mean? But the biggest thing is like anybody that comes to the truck, the main thing that we try to do is just make them feel like a celebrity for the day. Like, has anybody here eaten at Oregano's? Don't you feel like a celebrity? You walk into Oregano's, everyone's saying hi to you. You're just like, oh, whoa, what's going on here? So I kind of thought, I think it's over the top, you know what I mean? Because everyone's saying hi. You're like, I might get pizza. I'm not sure. But the Pizookie is for sure going to get ordered, the pizza cookie thing. But just making everybody feel like a part of the thing, you know what I mean? There's nothing worse than you go to a company or a business and like the employees are all talking, and you're like trying to order something and you're just like, are you guys going to help me? Or like, what's going on, So just like bringing people in and making them feel a part of the thing, you know what I mean? And what he's talking about is on Christmas Eve, there's probably 300 people lined up. We had a humongous storm on Christmas Eve, if anybody remembers it, and people were like, lined up outside of the truck. And you know what we did is we knew the storm was coming, but we still wanted to serve. So we told people, this is the closest thing Phoenix is going to get to a snowstorm. So we expect to see you out there. You know what I mean? And like people wait outside in the snow for things. So it's just a little bit of rain. You guys can do it. And they came out in droves. It was amazing. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question that hasn't really been covered yet because a lot of the resources that you guys have been talking about has been about tech, people. One of the biggest issues I have getting into like a second phase of my company is who do I trust with my business? How do I cultivate like another alpha, right? And so what resource have you guys used to cultivate great team members, great management, and things like that?
This is a good question. I mean, finding talent's really hard right now. As an agency, I've got 20 open positions. It's been crazy, and a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs, and I encourage that, right? Like, go be a freelancer, go be an entrepreneur. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. I have to encourage that. As much as I'd love for you to work for us as a creative director or whatever, I truly think right now, I think to Sarah's point earlier, like, if you know who you are and what you're about, you're trying to attract a tribe of people, right? And we talk about community. If you really are super clear with who you are as a company, who you are as a person, and who you want to attract, that's not only for customers, but for team members. Like, the biggest change I've seen in our agency right now, we're doing dual campaigns right now. Campaigns for people to come to the business. Like, you're going to see a campaign for Gila River Hotels and Casinos. Like, everyone's seen, we spend $20 million in the market, okay? And we're going to come out and not say, come to the casinos. We're going to say, come be a part of Gila River to work. And, by the way, people come be a part of our community to come to the casinos. The new world's going to be about marketing for team members and customers as a dual message. And the only way you can do that is if you have this, to your point, like this deep understanding for not only how you're different and who you are as a product offering, but like as a person, like as a vibe, like how is your personality different? And that's going to attract other like-minded kind of personalities and people. So I think it's a great question, because we're in a talent shortage, right? I mean, I'm sure other people have way smarter answers than that, but.
Isn't that the you to you, Scott?
That's
See?
right.
Good job. I know you're marketing. So this one really resonates with me for sure, because I'm a type A personality and I can do it all, but that doesn't mean I should do it all. I'm in an entrepreneur group called EO, and my mentor several years ago, I was overwhelmed. He's like, you need to get out of the way. I'm like, what? He's like, you're in the way. You have an incredible team behind you. You're smothering them. You're trying to do everything. You're not letting them bloom. You're not letting them fail, letting them learn, letting them grow. And so I got out of the way. I built a leadership team, and they are incredible, and they make mistakes, and they do things way better than I did, and all of the things. And so that was the big thing that I learned, was getting out of the way. And man, I wish I did it sooner. I wish I found my people. We do a lot of internal testing. We do Enneagram tests. We do DISC assessments. I mean, all these different types of personalities to see what makes them tick, what makes them thrive, and making sure that you have this healthy team from all these different tests that are available too. We hire experts that come in and do it. But that's probably my big 2 recommendations for you, is get out of the way, let them do their thing, let them learn, and learn more about how to coach your people, how they take feedback well. Not everybody takes it as much as us crazy entrepreneurs. They may need to be coached a little differently.
So you guys have given a lot of great advice on individualized companies, but at what point in time should an entrepreneur or business consider hiring outsources, such as yourselves?
This is a hard one for sure. I think it's making sure that you're ready, right? Are you ready financially to outsource that? We don't need to be squeezing the last nickel out of your bank account to make this happen. That doesn't make sense. And are you at a place of growth that you're okay with releasing some of that control back to that, right? So we do a pretty deep dive with our clients to see if they're a good fit. We have a certain niche that we want to go after, and if they don't fit that, I always recommend going to colleges and finding freelancers, finding college students, especially for like reels. We hire college students still. I mean, they do incredible work. So I think you have a lot of really inexpensive tools that you can use prior to getting to an agency that will also test your bandwidth of what you're okay with giving up, what control you're willing to give up, and really learning that outsourcing tool before you go to an agency would be what I would recommend.
I think marketing professionals can be extremely helpful. I think marketing professionals, if hired in the wrong way and having the wrong expectations, can be completely disastrous. And so I think of it as like if you're throwing somebody a bunch of shit to clean up and to do, and you want a marketing professional to come in and do that as a consultant, you're going to put them in a really tough position. And so I absolutely am a big advocate for hiring, for outsourcing anything. Like I don't do my own legal work, right? There's a lot of things that I look for professionals, and hiring a professional is really tough. I think the biggest thing is finding out like what's a good like realistic budget for them. Are they your vibe? Do you guys get along? It's a really intimate relationship between like a marketing consultant professional or agency and a business owner and client. Like it's not like a transactional relationship. So really understanding kind of really just the personality that's involved and understanding what the expectations are and understanding what's a good budget for them and realistic timeframes and what's a good budget for you. It's almost like hiring the wrong contractor can be like disastrous if not the right circumstances. And I see it all the time, but I would definitely recommend it, but make sure you have a good budget. I mean, and I'd say, the minimum budget, you're probably looking like $2,500, $2,000 plus a month for like a marketing consultant to really take their time and give some effort. I don't know if that's helpful, but. That was a hard question.
Hey guys, I think Alex nailed it with the human part. I think we all think about like the human or the digital space too much. So with COVID and the pandemic and all that kind of stuff, how have you guys adapted? Because I love our team, and I would love everyone to be there 24/7 to build culture. And I think anyone who wasn't there all the time would realize, hey, this really has helped. Walking to the office to talk to someone and eliminating 34 emails and text messages and Slack. How have you guys all adapted to making sure you're efficient and productive on the marketing side or just in business in general now, adapting to the times of everyone wants to work, kind of the hybrid role?
I'll take this one just because this is really tough. We have close to 200 people at our Phoenix offices, Phoenix and Vegas, about 25 in Vegas, 175-ish in Phoenix. And marketing at an ad agency is, it's awesome. It's, coffee and, beers and beer pong. Like it's fun. Like it's a fun, creative atmosphere. And you need that to do great work, in my opinion. So when COVID hit and all of a sudden for 2 years, we're on Zoom, it's a totally different deal. I had a lot of people burnt out, quit, and do crazy stuff. We had crazy turnover. So coming back out of that, how have we done it? We've had a policy where be in the office now, at this point, now that we're kind of past COVID, be in the office more than you're not. If you have shit you got to do, if you have someone coming to your house to fix a roof, if you have kids you got to take to school, go do it. Get what you need to get done personally, but try to be in the office to create that vibe and that sense of community with your coworkers because it's a group creative project every day. Similar to Ashley, we have a lot of working moms at our company. And they get work done, but they also can balance that family life. And it's tough to balance, work life and family life in a professional, high-pressure environment. So it's still tough. I still think there are a lot of advantages to remote work because I think you can get a lot of stuff done. I think we overemphasize how much you need to be in the office. I think we emphasize now how much you need that human connectivity in an office environment. So we're still struggling with it. We definitely don't have the answer, but I'm still a big believer in that human connection. One big little insight I think for us, I know I see Jessica and Mark here and Noel here. I think that FOMO we've tried to create, like how do you create stuff at your company where you're not like dictatorial, like get your ass into the office, but it's like, hey, we've got chefs in town. We've got happy hours. We have a lunch and learn. We have professionals that come in to speak. Like, how do you create an environment to where people are like, shit, I'm not at the office again and I'm on Zoom. I missed out. I should have been there. I think that's a big opportunity for like just creating, the emphasis like you'd like people in, but you're not like being dictatorial. Like you need to be in the office, 7 days a week or 6 days a week. Like that ain't gonna fly with people, at least in our business.
Very small teams on my side.
So majority of my team is remote, so COVID was just another day for us, a little crazier with kids at home. But it's really, there's two big movements right now. One is the Great Resignation, which everybody's aware of, and then there's something new called the quiet quitting. And this is a new trend that's happening right now. How many of you have heard of quiet quitting? Yeah, woo. So this is a new, oh yeah, it's new. It's basically, that you're showing up to work, but you're not going to do the extra effort. So you're silently quitting, but you're still showing up and getting a paycheck, but you're not working as hard. is really this new trend that's coming out. But I think the big thing is just having that open dialogue and conversation with your team. They shouldn't be scared to come tell you that they have a roofer coming over, or I try to be a little bit more accommodating. I'm starting to move into more of an office vibe and space, and I'm building an office team because I love the community side and the collaboration. But it's really important to allow them to have their life and their freedom, and the more that you can satisfy them, I think the better work you're going to get out of them too, because they're happy there. And so that's probably the big part.
Okay, guys, we're gonna have time. Or go ahead, Sarah. You want to?
Oh, I was just going to add one little nugget, and that's just the flip side of the coin. So we've leaned into the remote. We've hired people. It gives you the ability to hire people who better match the skill set you're looking for if you could be flexible with them living somewhere else. So I now have a team people in Washington State, Colorado, Minnesota, and though a lovely pool of workers Arizona has to offer, allowed us to find people that were definitely better suited to the role. And so we're not pushing people to come back into the office, and we're going the total opposite direction and finding people who, because we are in a labor shortage and have a hard time finding the right people for the right role, leaning into more national searches and not getting so hung up on needing them to come into the office. So I'd encourage you to look at the other side of the coin too.
And don't discount working moms. I get about 15 to 30 resumes a month. 15 to 30 a month. I have so many moms knocking on my door. So make sure that if you're going after remote, that your job description shows that. They should not be on from 8 to 5. That is not a remote position. I've scrubbed and redlined and slashed so many friends that are like, I'm trying to hire someone remote and I'm not getting any good candidates. Well, let's see what you're trying to sell them on, because that's not a remote position. So be careful and be intentional on how you're writing these, because that's what's going to attract the people if you want to go after that market.
Okay, guys, we're gonna do 2 more live, and then we're gonna go to the 2 or 3 online. We're running a little bit over. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thanks, guys, first of all. You've talked a lot about like beginning phases, but for those of us that have been doing this for a while, working for ourselves, running businesses, can each of you give a specific tactic that you prefer and love for your long-term clients you've had for a long time? We've talked about new clients tonight and how to generate those. Some of us have had, I'm a tattooer. I've been tattooing some people for 10, 15 years. So how have you guys been successful in not just being distracted by new clients all the time, but how are you taking care of the ones that have been in your business for a long time and keeping them coming back?
Are you talking about like what specific marketing tactic to scale depending on the business segment? I want to make sure I understand the question.
I guess however you feel to answer it. How are you keeping your clients engaged? How are you keeping them coming back for product?
Love the ones you've got kind of thing?
Sure, yeah.
Right? That's a great question. Yeah, it's easier to keep the clients you have than to go get new ones. For us, we had to take a hard look in the mirror at that. I think for a long time got very focused on growth, like a lot of us, like a lot of companies, at least for me. I was like, I want to grow, I want to get bigger national clients. And we had great clients that existed, and we forgot a little bit about the loved ones that we had. So for me, again, I know I'm a broken record, but it comes down to budgeting. We looked and has anyone heard about the 80-20 rule? Right? Who's heard about the 80-20 rule? Raise your hand. This freaking blows my mind, right? Like 80% of our business is 20% of the people, right? So we take a look at this, and we take a look at our existing clients, and we have a score sheet that's been really successful. So understanding, what revenue client is what percentage, and then we actually developed a budget for those clients to have proactive initiatives, right? So your XYZ client, we've had you X, Y, and Z years. We need to take, a certain percentage, 2%, 3% of what we make off you, and we need to dedicate that to client entertainment, to getting in front of you, to pitching new ideas. So yeah, I think certainly loyalty, especially as I think possibly a downturn's coming, right? How do you really make sure? And what we've found in doing this, we've had the biggest organic growth year we've ever had. So I was so stupid trying to go out there and get more clients, and then if I just gave our existing big clients more love, we got more work. So to your point, I think that's I think that's kind of how I see it. Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
I've got a few things. So we do quarterly reviews with our clients. These aren't the weekly meetings of what's going on, what's happening, what we need to promote, but it's a deep dive. What are we doing well? What are we not doing well? What do we need to focus on? What do we need to reset? We change content. We do a lot of content writing and creation. We change our content writers up all the time because they can get stale. They can be too much in the business. We need a new, fresh set of eyes. We need a new, fresh opportunity. What else can we do differently? And my team knows that. You may love your clients, but we may make some switches just for the better of the client, just to get some new creative ideas in there. So I think that's probably the big thing. But I do love talking about the value of your current clients because you can probably get more dollars out of them and more commitment. I know tattoos. No one gets one tattoo, right? And so I think there's a lot of different things you can do with that. But I think just refreshing every quarter and looking at it and not getting so comfortable with what you've been doing.
I don't have clients. But what I would say for a more established business is you probably have some brand ambassadors, brand advocates that follow you, are invested in you, would go to no one else but you. And so I would make sure you're creating a space for them. So whether that's an email program, a loyalty program, whatever is right for your business, give them a space to kind of hear from you first and get the inside scoop and what you're up to. Anybody can follow you on social media, but what are you doing for the people who care an awful lot about you and your business and your success? And what are you sharing with them that you're not sharing with the general public? So that would be my advice for your long-term clients.
I think that's really good.
All right. Well, I had a quick question for Sarah. You're talking about representing national brands, renowned brands, and yet we've heard a lot today about creating community. How our community has some incredible franchisees, and you look at the Chick-fil-A's, you look at the Cold Stone Creameries. How are you empowering your franchisees to create their own communities around the country when they're bound by a national brand? But to find success, there's the Chick-fil-A on 40th and Indian School. That man is an incredible leader in this community and makes his presence known. So one part is, what kind of tips are you giving your franchisees to create their own communities? And then from a national brand perspective, we've heard so much about the pivot. How has a national brand had to pivot at a time where community matters more than ever?
Great questions. So to answer your first question, we actually have a Kahala franchisee in the audience from Maui Wowie. Yeah. So I'll give a Maui Wowie example. We create content around, it is so crazy to me how bananas people go for national days. National Smoothie Day, National Mango Day. So we provide some content for our franchisees to post out to their own channels so they don't have to develop that content on their own. But that said, we also provide so you're not reinventing the wheel every single time. We provide assets with a branded look. So you don't want to have to be generating content because you need so much of it these days. You want somebody scrolling through your feed and seeing something like knowing exactly who that came from, be it their color palette, their vibe and aesthetic, whatever you want to call it. So I know Robert does a good job of sharing where he's going to be that day, how you can find him, that his daughter's going to be out there helping him sling some smoothies, promoting the event itself and not just his business alone, but the community that he's a part of. So I hope that answers that part of the question. In terms of how we pivoted, I'll kind of echo something Terrence said, in that the digital space very much leveled the playing field. So whether you're a big national brand or you're a solopreneur, we pivoted really hard into the digital space. I think it's really important to be more agile and nimble than you've ever been, especially from our end of things. So we're constantly evaluating the efficacy of what we're doing. To Scott's point, we fail fast. So if it's not working, we cut it off and redirect those dollars to somewhere else. And the pandemic certainly opened up channels to be able to do that. I don't know that certainly existed, but to the extent that it exists today is just a different ballgame. So how we're pivoting on a national level as well as a local level, if we see something performing very well in Buffalo that isn't performing as well in Bozeman, we have to be able to make those tweaks. So paying attention definitely can really help you pivot and just, I mean, you can get needlepoint precision if you pay close enough attention. Do those answer your questions? Okay.
And just to echo one thing that made me think, Edelman's a national PR agency, and I think about this all the time. And this is the game we're in terms of marketing, especially what I would call like we're in a new world reset of marketing. Like consumer habits have changed faster than ever. Edelman puts out a trust barometer report. Their most recent trust barometer report said that we're at an all-time high of mistrust in this country. All-time high. People don't trust anybody. You don't trust teachers, right? Yeah, exactly, right? We don't trust anybody or anything, right? I think the number, I'm going to make the number up because I'm full of shit. It's probably like 87% or something, right? Right? We don't trust anybody. And so the point of this and why I bring this up in terms of whether you're a national brand or a local brand, what people are trying to do is get trust, right? And no one believes or trusts anything. So if we're at 85% mistrust, our job as entrepreneurs is to try to gain trust. So like that's the new world currency. It's not necessarily money anymore, it's belief, right? And belief can happen with community, it can happen with social. So that's the game. If you're a national advertiser, our national clients like Disney and Wynn and all these Virgin, they're out there trying to gain trust, and we're going to do anything we can to gain trust. I think the beauty is, as entrepreneurs, you do have an edge in terms of that localization and that community. And your job to, as an entrepreneur out there, is to go gain trust. And it can be a little counterintuitive because we're salespeople and we want to make the sale. But a lot of times in doing that, we're not being authentic. And so like the great brands like Cold Stone and State 48 and the big brands and smart people over here like Ashley and Terrence who's built a community, like what they're doing is just helping people gain trust out there. And so that's how like I think we can simplify it a little bit again. And that's what national brands I think are really trying to do is like, look, you can trust us. Like here's what we're doing in the community. And actually not saying trust us, but actually showing and doing things to be like, okay, damn, all right. You've proven I can trust you.
I love those statistics, Scott, too. Just he said 85%, so just pulling the numbers out.
Is it 85? I was right?
Yeah, I Googled it back here.
All right, perfect.
Don't worry, I got you covered.
Got a fact finder, holy shit.
That's what we do here. All right, taking some questions we have from our virtual people right now. Ashley, I think this is a good question for you. What recommendations can you give the batching content for mostly Instagram and Facebook needed in a more timely way to make content that I can routinely post to get the views?
Yeah, I think the batching is great, especially with Reels. We have clients that will shoot all their content in an afternoon and then we chop it and make 10 videos out of it. That's very helpful. No one cares that you're wearing the same shirt anymore. If you guys were worrying about that, I worried about that for a long time, but no one cares. So I would definitely batch it for sure, and invest in photography. Work with other local entrepreneurs to come get some good quality photos. They're going to be great for your website, your newsletters, your social ads. Get this bucket. And the photographers we work with, I don't want 10 perfect final photos. I want 100 photos that I can use in different variations. You can make reels with photos too, right? They don't just have to be the anime side. So I think really capitalizing on your community, finding out who your photographers, your videographers were, grab that cell phone, figure out what trends work well for you, and make an afternoon of it. I mean, just like Sarah said, an hour a day, or schedule some time in your calendar to spend it on marketing, because if you don't, you will not do it. It will not be a fire that's in your face every day. You have to make it one and make it a priority. So definitely love the batching suggestion on that.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Give a round of applause to our panelists right now. All the great information that they gave tonight. And also, they're not done. We have a special offer. So E Squared Marketing is offering a free 30-minute social media marketing session for everybody that was here tonight. All you have to do is sign up. I believe that link is online. So if you guys are tuning in virtually right now, you could go ahead and click on the link. And then also we have Terrence. He's going to be offering a one-on-one business coaching to one lucky person. So make sure you try to sign up for that. And then also Sarah, she's going to give out 3 one-on-one business coach. I'm looking at them to make sure. They're like, Jay, we ain't giving out that much free stuff, all right? Hold on now. All right, so they're going to giving that out. And then also, lastly, tonight, there's going to be a survey that's online as well. So make sure you fill out that survey. Tell us your thoughts and everything. And you could see on my right now, this is so important. $25,000 available in grant funding. Follow all of those steps. All you have to do is go to 2 of the 4 speaker series. So if you went to the one tonight, there's also one next week as well. So make sure you sign up for that. That's awesome. Thank you for everyone coming out tonight. Also, that's going to be next week on August 24th at 6 p.m. for systems and processes. We'll see you next week. And also make sure to go over here. We have free resources right now. So a lot of the stuff they talked about on stage, you could get free over here right now. Thank you for coming, everybody. Appreciate it.